Two Portsmouth friends survived playing music for 12 hours straight. The marathon jam was to raise money for charity, and the pair join me now to tell us all about it. So, first of all, why did you do the jam, Sean?
Well, it was a bit of a silly idea, but we did it for a really good reason. So, first and foremost, we did it to raise awareness for human trafficking in cooperation with a charity called Stella's Voice. And they operate worldwide, but specifically we were focusing on trafficking in Moldova. And so we did a fundraiser to raise some money for this trip that Tim and I and our wives will be going on to do with that charity.
So we're going to talk about the charity in just a minute, but first of all, how did you survive playing music for 12 hours with your eardrums not dying?
They certainly were. There was lots of donuts, lots of food. We had lots of support. We had a support team bringing us drinks, keeping us entertained. Sean's sister Caitlin, she was on tour with us last year, and she was incredible. She just kept bringing us support and food, feeding us crisps. It was super.
That sounds very unhealthy, jam. Anyway.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, lots of sugar.
Yeah,
Got the energy.
And how do you know what to play?
Well, actually, that was the biggest challenge for me. Like, some people were thinking, like, why don't
you play the drums and you play, what do you play?
I played all sorts of things,
right.
mainly the bass guitar and banjo and all sorts. And people were asking me, why don't your fingers hurt so much? And I was like, actually, the biggest challenge was trying to think of creative things for a full 12 hours to play. And
were you allowed to play kind of tracks that we know already, or was it only?
Yeah, we were playing along to tracks, so we had to fill 12 hours. So we had tracks, and then we'd have times where we were just jamming over just nothingness, really.
Well, a very impressive feat, and you've raised more than £1,000 for Stella's Voice, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a bit about what is Stella's Voice then?
So, Stella's Voice is, as Sean said, an anti-human trafficking charity. And I must stress, without this charity, hundreds and hundreds of kids each year, particularly in Moldova, because that's one of their focus points at the moment, and I'll go on to that in a minute, these kids are in danger if Stella's Voice doesn't do what it does. So the big problem at the moment is, in Moldova, because of the fall of communism in 1991, Moldova was left as this separate entity to Russia and to Ukraine and Romania. It was left by itself with no industry. The country is in utter desperation, completely corrupt. It's cheaper to buy a bottle of vodka than it is to buy a bottle of water out there, and it is standard for kids to be abused, which is absolutely horrific. So a lot of the kids end up, because of their background, in state orphanages, and we think they might be better, but no. These kids are they're told, we will see you when you bring your kids here when you're older. They're told they have no future, they have no hope. At age 16, they are released from the state orphanages. Okay, bearing in mind they've just been mistreated since they've been in the state orphanages. They've now been pushed out with nowhere to go, no one to love them, and it's at this point where the human traffickers actually step in, and they see them as easy bait, because they can offer these kids, essentially, age 16, jobs, and they can say, yeah, we'll give you this job, we'll look after you. But that's where it all goes wrong, because there isn't jobs to offer. They get their documents taken, and before they know it, they're in a horrible human trafficking ring where they'll be abused, they'll be raped by multiple men. I think there's one statistic of a girl that we were in contact with who was raped 90 times on Christmas Day. And for me, when you hear stats like that, it's enough to take a step back and go, what can I do for this charity? It's absolutely sickening. And if that was a member of my family, I'd know how I felt. So to stand here and be able to do it because it's somebody else's sister, somebody else's mum, somebody else's brother, it makes it all worthwhile.
And so Stella's Voice kind of provides havens for them, does it?
Exactly, yeah. So age 16, they're out on the streets, so we take them into our safe houses. We've got currently 82 children in our care, boys and girls. And while they're with us, they get educated, and they quite often leave the safe houses as some of the most educated children in Moldova, making them able to turn around the society they live in. And one of the main parts of what they learn at Stella's Voice is how to educate their friends of human trafficking, how to warn them, how to tell them what they need to avoid. And this is where we need to turn Moldova around, because unless people are educating the society they live in, it's just going to be a vicious circle. It's going to keep going and keep going. And it's time for this to change. Stella's Voice doing incredible work. They can do more and more, but to do more, they need people to get on board. They need businesses, companies, celebrities, patrons. We need people to actually step up and go, I'm going to work for Stella's Voice, because there's only so much they can do by themselves. And this problem in Moldova, it's not going away. We can limit it, but it's not going away. But unfortunately, it's happening in the UK. So we need to bring the fantastic work we do in Moldova over to the UK. Out there, it's based on preventing. But when it comes to the UK, we'll actually be dealing with children and women and boys and men that are actually being abused, actually physically being trafficked. So it's going to be a completely different ball game over here. But that is where Stella's Voice is going, protecting the world's most vulnerable from human traffickers.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a really, really worthwhile cause and a really worthwhile enterprise. And one of the things that you were raising money for in that jam was a trip that you were about to take out there, the both of you, I understand. So tell me a bit about that, Sean.
Yeah, the both of us with our wives, Anna-Main and Ellie, so we're really excited about it. Go out on the 13th of August for a week. So as you might have guessed, Tim knows quite a lot more about the charity than me, but hearing these stories, these atrocities touched me obviously as well as our wives too. And we heard about this opportunity to go out and just bless all these children who have had such a horrible past.
So it's a kind of summer camp.
Kind of, yeah. So they'll be
going to be helping look after the youngsters.
Yeah. So I work for a music academy, by the way. So we're going out there. We're taking some instruments. So Portsmouth Music Academy. We've sort of given 10 ukuleles to take out, and we've got some more money to go into that as well. And it's just going to be a great time playing music, just playing games, just having lots of fun with some really damaged children. So it'll be great.
Well, it sounds like you're doing amazing work. Well done, both of you. You know, we can only sit here and admire people like you doing the hard work that you're doing. Thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for doing that for these young people.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.